you'll actually injure and hurt the people that you love to pursue your gambling addiction. Hello, everyone. Today, Dad's reacting to The Online Gambling Epidemic by Drew Gooden.
A few months ago, to celebrate my friend's birthday, I went on a Victory Casino cruise. And not only did everyone get seasick almost immediately, but we also lost all the money we brought in to gamble with. It was one of the best days of my life. For a good portion of the past century, getting on a boat that reeks of piss and wobbling your way out just far enough into the ocean so that laws don't exist anymore was one of the only ways to legally gamble in the United States. It had such a convoluted barrier of entry that most people could go their entire lives without ever being tempted to do it. Just don't go to Nevada and you'll probably never see a casino. In 2024, this is no longer the case.
Only on FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Prize Picks,
Underdog,
Hard Rock Bet,
Sally Bet,
PointsBet,
ESPN Bet 365.
Smack me in the mouth with all of it.
If you watch any sports at all,
That's powerful to see. I don't really expose myself too much to gambling commercials. The imagery put forth and the music, star power of the people tempting you with this, it's what addiction specialists do. They're awesome at getting you to try out their addiction.
ads for sports betting have become inescapable. Even if you muted every commercial and closed your eyes until the game came back on, it's still plastered everywhere. DraftKings promos pop up in the middle of a play, there's BetMGM billboards behind home plate, FanDuel logos on the court, on the microphones. They come at you from every angle, pepper spraying you in the face so you don't notice they just pulled your pants down. They've made it so watching sports and betting on sports are just two sides of the same coin. Like you can't have one without the other.
Now the two things, sports and gambling, have become one. For a lot of young people, a big part of their identity would be the sports team that they're rooting for. In ninth grade, I loved the New York Mets, and the New York Mets were on their way to winning a World Series, and I could tell you every single thing about the New York Mets. But I could also tell you I never placed one bet on the New York Mets. And nowadays, they've somehow just tied the two together. So if you're watching a sporting event, you're also giving statistics about something related to gambling. It's done on purpose, and it's done to just normalize it and say, hey, do you enjoy sports like most male Americans and you're a normal male American? Well, then don't forget, it's also normal for you to enjoy gambling because sports and gambling are the same thing. That's what's going on here. And it's evil and it's sinister. It's just all done for a bag of money, and nobody seems to care about the bodies left in the wake of destruction.
It's become so normalized that it might be easy to forget that gambling can be kind of bad, actually. About 10 million people in the US alone struggle with gambling in some way, a good portion of which are under the age of 25. Gambling addicts attempt suicide at a rate 15 times higher than the general population.
That the suicide rate is 15 times more likely than other addictions. And we're not talking about just smoking cigarettes. We're talking about hardcore addictions. The problem is when you're a gambler, your whole life will fall apart around you. One, you're obsessed with whatever the bet is, and you're always chasing a loss, and you're always trying to scheme and find ways to get money. And the easiest prey to get the money from are the people that you love. And that's why this is so devastating, because you'll actually injure and hurt the people that you love to pursue your gambling addiction. You'll take resources, funds, opportunities away from those people so that you can continue the destruction of your own life. And that's what just wreaks absolute chaos and havoc on families where there's a loved one in the family that gets involved in this.
The average debt of a gambling addict can range from $15,000 to $90,000. But where most people would see this as a problem, a few people saw it as an opportunity. All that extra money that could be siphoned from struggling families and into the pockets of like 12 CEOs. And we're not doing that because... So in 2018, the Supreme Court overruled the federal ban on sports betting. And since then, Americans have collectively lost over $245 billion on it. That's almost 1,000.
Now you have to wonder, the Supreme Court overturns a federal ban on the gambling, and it has to make you wonder who really is in control of your country. Doing this would obviously help certain individuals, a very small group of them, and it would cause devastating harm and damage to countless millions of Americans. Who runs your Supreme Court? Who does your Supreme Court work for?
$1,000 per person, and that number was from last year. But the bombardment of playful advertising filled with famous celebrities would make you think it's just a harmless, fun game you can play on your phone. Kevin Hart, Post Malone, Chris Rock, LeBron James, Kevin Hart, Peyton Peyton Manning, Jamie Foxx, Eric Andre, Patton Oswalt, Vanessa Hudgens, the guy from that Kendrick Lamar song, Kevin Hart, even the
The gambling companies are making so much money that they're going out to every star and influencer they can find and saying, I've got a big bag of money for you. You need to bring your people to us. People like the Haktua girl here or LeBron James or Chris Rock just sell out their fans. And what miserable, horrible people they are. These people that we've elevated up onto these pedestals that people worship. And in the end, they're willing to just ruin the lives of the people that support them, getting them addicted to a horrible thing like gambling. And it's a miserable, horrible thing that will never, ever go away. Once you're an addict for whatever the thing you're an addict of, you'll carry the addiction till you die. It will always be there. You can learn to manage it. You can learn to live with it, but it will always be a little demon that lives in your head, and you don't know what triggers or what life circumstances will come before you, which may allow that demon to take back over. It is just basically blood money. You're destroying people's lives for your own self-interest.
Is sponsored by Better. Why is it always the people you trust the most?
You don't need to know everything about every sport.
Good, because I don't.
Yeah, me either. All you need is a feeling and a phone.
Oh my gosh, I want
That is such a bold way to advertise your product. You don't have to know.
All you need is a feeling. That's how you should be gambling. I just feel that this is going to work out. I mean, that is just preying on gamblers' fallacies. It's really sad. It's worse than I actually thought. I knew it was bad, but Drew is, of course, enlightening me and showing me the depths of depravity that currently exist.
Anything about sports in order to bet on them. In fact, we would prefer you didn't. Look, this guy's just chilling in a hot tub. He doesn't even know what sport he bet on, and he won money. So go ahead, just open the app and start mashing buttons. I don't know, where do you think they got all the money to shell out to these celebrities? Could it be that maybe Prize Picks isn't the secret gateway to riches beyond my wildest imaginations, and maybe they're just trying to get my debit card number so they can take all my disposable income? Whether or not you think sports betting should be illegal, and I'm not even necessarily saying it should be, the fact that they're allowed to advertise it like this is fucking insane. Imagine a cigarette commercial that was...
Drew, that deserved the F word there. I think you're 100% right. Our government has embraced this because it's getting paid off, the people inside of it, by the companies too. And the politicians that allow it to happen, the Supreme Court that allows it to happen, these people are just as monstrous as the Chris Rocks and the LeBron James and the Haktua girls. It sort of shows you as a citizen in 2025 what you're up against. Your child is going to get a phone in their hand at some point in time, and that phone is a gateway to hell. And one of the pathways that they'll be put on is the gambling pathway. And it's going to be normalized by all their peers, and no one's going to tell them it's an addiction. The parents are totally unaware that it even exists, most of them. They just think gambling's like, oh, I went to the casino. It's going to be another public health nightmare. Blood money. It's blood money.
Like, oh my God, this is so good.
This is the best I've ever felt in my life.
I'm on top of the world.
Typically, the only tobacco ads you see are anti-vaping PSAs. And I hope there's a future where advertising for betting apps is regular.
It's funny, he brings up the cigarettes as what are they going to dance around and say how great they are? Yeah, well, for decades they did, Drew. Doctors would prescribe it. Doctor, this is my favorite cigarette, and I'm a doctor. And why did the doctor do it? Because he wanted a bag of money. Everybody wants a bag. You yourself get to set your moral code as to what kind of things you'll do to get it. For a lot of people, it's just a Satan culture out there at this point in 2025, and they don't care. If I don't sell you the gambling, well, here's this other superstar that will, so I don't feel so bad about it because I'm just doing what Peyton Manning is doing. I mean, he's everybody's favorite guy. He's promoting gambling, so it can't be bad for me to do it. Well, Peyton Manning, you're a scumbag too because you sold yourself out and you sold all those little kids and all those fans that supported you for all those years for money, blood money.
Regulated in a similar way. You can still bet on sports. You can still smoke cigarettes if you want to. It's not illegal, but you're not bombarded with the temptation to do it every time you turn on a basketball game. Even though it's only been 6 years since the federal ban on sportsbooks was overturned, technology has already evolved well beyond what was available at the time. And now that gambling has gone from being in a place you have to go to do it to being accessible on your phone at any moment, there's nothing stopping these apps from trying to lure you in constantly. and they're really good at doing that.
Addiction is intensified, he says, by how much the gambling companies know about each user. That data was used to tailor offers and push notifications to keep the guy in action.
They knew the life stage, the customer life stage he was at. So
then they'll do a 60 minutes on it. They'll tell you how bad the problem is. They always will tell you the apple's poison. Then they'll offer it to you anyway, and you'll decide whether I'm going to eat it or not. And that's sort of how they walk away with a clean conscience. Listen, the people that own and run 60 Minutes are the same people that are involved with the gambling. It's one big giant club.
They described it. So people that have given up gambling for a while and they're trying to get them to come back.
Just by using these apps, you're giving them data about your gambling habits, which they can then weaponize against you. If they realize around 2 p.m. every Sunday is when you're most likely to interact with the app because you're watching 19 games at once and you're starting to get a little restless, they can tailor make a push notification just for you. Maybe they'll boost the odds of a third quarter Tyreek Hill touchdown, or they'll show you a parlay that 50,000 other people have bet on, and that many people can't all be wrong.
It even goes to the rigging of the games. Maybe not enough people are making bets in the second half of a certain game, so word goes down to the referee, make it a little closer so we can get more people to bet. I guarantee you that's happening. Stop watching professional sports. The whole country will be better off if we get rid of enormous distraction, time suck, and money grab that professional sports has become.
Let's talk about parlays for a second, because I think that's one of the biggest contributors to the exponential rise of sports betting.
It's parlay time.
Put simply, a parlay is when you combine multiple bets into one bet, significantly decreasing the odds of it hitting, but massively boosting the payout you'll win if it does. It's basically the difference between winning a few dollars for correctly calling one coin flip, or winning thousands of dollars if you can get that coin to land on heads 12 times in a row. You're so distracted by the possibility of how much you could win that you're not even considering the fact that you definitely won't. Parlays are the lottery ticket of sports betting, and these apps have made it so easy to make one whenever you want. The only thing stopping you from putting together a parlay that frankly doesn't even make sense is your own imagination. Because of parlays, I think for a lot of people, gambling has become death by 1,000 paper cuts. Maybe instead of losing a lot of money all at once, you're just losing a little bit of money all the time. Sometimes you'll even lose money in a way that feels like you almost won. 5 out of 6, I was so close. But that means I'll definitely win next time. My only personal experience with online sports betting.
Yeah, the gambler's fallacy. Just one more time. And gamblers spend their lives chasing their losses into their graves. And it's pathetic and it's sad.
Was a couple years ago when I saw Underdog Fantasy was offering to match your first deposit up to $100. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. I watch a lot of football. Maybe I can finally make back some of the money I've spent over the years supporting my stupid, shitty team. So I put in $100. They doubled it. And slowly over the course of the next 2 months, I lost $25 every week until it was all gone. Now, if I'm being honest, I think this was actually best case scenario for me. I consider myself lucky that the few times I've tried gambling, it hasn't gone well for me because I have no positive association with it.
The worst thing that can happen to a gambler when they start is to win big right away. You have the new gambler coming into the app. Best thing that you could do to keep them gambling is give them some luck and some fortune and some money.
Same way that I have no desire to smoke cigarettes because the first time I did, I smoked 2 back-to-back for some reason and was nauseous the rest of the night. I have no desire to gamble because I've only ever lost money doing it. So even though Underdog managed to get $100 out of me, I actually think they would have preferred if I won a little bit first. When betting apps give out these kind of introductory offers, it's not just so they can get a bunch of free money, although that's definitely part of it. They're trying to create a customer for life.
Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. $5 get $200 back.
Give us just a little and we'll give you a whole bunch more.
$150 up to $500.
Up to $2,000.
Online sportsbooks know that the best way to get people addicted to their product is to make that first big win as easy as possible. So they'll lure you in with an offer that seems too good to be true because all of that is pennies compared to what they're raking in from the people who are hooked. They give you free money to start with. They'll let you try again if your first bet doesn't work. They'll let you throw in one leg of a parlay that has essentially a 100% chance of hitting. They are desperate to make sure you have a good time. They want every time you see that app icon on your phone to think about the rush you felt when you turned $5 into $100, so you keep chasing that feeling forever.
Yeah, I always think about these gambling companies is they need a river of money coming to them all the time. And they will reach out to Drew Gooden. Hey, Drew, we'll pay you to gamble on stream $100,000 a month so that you will bring your audience into our river. And that's why you see so many YouTubers or Twitch streamers or gambling online. They're not really gambling with their money. They're gambling with house money. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. The point is they just have to go out there, act like they're having a great time for an hour or 2 hours a day gambling, and dump all their fans' money into the river that leads to the gambling company. And they're scumbags. I'm just going to say it cold.
I just managed to outsmart them by being so unbelievably bad at sports betting that I never even came close to winning. But because I was curious to see how much online sports gambling has evolved since I tried it a couple years ago, and because I would never leave a stone unturned in the pursuit of research, I decided for this video I should try it one more time. So I signed up for the only legal sports book in my home state of Florida, which I assume is named after famous internet sex symbol Hard Rock Nick.
Balls tugged on one by one.
Their introductory offer is that they'll give you another chance to bet if your first one doesn't win. On the surface, that almost sounds like free money, but it's not like you can bet once, lose, and then just take your money back. You still have to give them the money. You're probably just gonna lose twice for the price of one. But hey, check this out. I've already unlocked a 1x multiplier, which means for every dollar I earn, I walk away with $1. I spent the next 12 minutes hard at work concocting the smartest and most guaranteed parlays the world has ever seen. With all my bets placed, I could finally sit back, relax, and enjoy a stress-free Sunday afternoon.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Why did I bet on Sam Darnold? Why did I bet on Kirk Cousins? Why did I take the over on Curtis Martin rushing yards?
Yeah, great point. I didn't see this coming, but you usually watch the sports game to enjoy the athleticism and the competition that is being displayed on the field. I think generally that's what sports are about. You can appreciate how these people have trained themselves to be such tremendous athletes. And I still say that about all these professional athletes. They are tremendous. With all your parlays and your bets out there, all you're constantly thinking about is how you're either making or losing money with each play that happens.
Tired in 2007.
The next few hours felt like a roller coaster, but in spite of it all, I was determined to come out on top.
Guess who has 2 thumbs and just won $9.52? This guy. My other thumb's holding the phone.
I was down, but now I'm up.
And since I only lost 5 other bets, I was just $61 from breaking even.
Now I know what you're thinking, Drew. How could you have possibly known the Bills were gonna beat a team significantly worse than them? What are you, some kind of genius? No. I prefer Savant week now, and even though I did win a few more bets, all I've really managed to do is turn my initial $100 into 0. It's all gone. I think they know they're on the verge of losing me for good because they're really ramping up the notifications. Most days I'm getting at least one every hour. They even offered me another second chance bet, this time up to 5.
Now you've installed the app on your phone, and they can push you notifications one every hour. Imagine being a 15-year-old in high school and you have early stage gambling addiction and you're trying to sit there in your algebra class and focus on math. Your phone is buzzing. You pull it out and it's telling you like, oh, we got this great deal. Bam. Now your mind is completely distracted. You're not thinking about algebra anymore. Now you're back in an addiction state and you're thinking about bets and you're thinking about ways to recoup the losses that you've already made. It's so disturbing and alarming. It should be deemed a public health nuisance. Addiction to young people caused by technology companies.
$100. They are so confident based on everything I've shown them so far that it seems they're willing to give me any amount of money because it doesn't matter, I'm just going to lose it all anyway. Even in my very limited time using this app, I can already see the traps they're setting for me, and I am falling for them. For some reason, I've done multiple parlays that are contingent upon something happening at the beginning of a game. They offer a bunch of bets that are based on first quarter stats, and I realized firsthand why they do this. Because that one leg can cook your entire parlay immediately. But at that point, you've already committed to betting on this game, and there's so much more game to bet on. So you do. And before you know it, you're betting on Keyshawn George to make.
When they offer you the parlays, they like to offer you the ones that are happening in the first quarter of the game. Because they know more times than not you're going to lose. And then what happens to every gambler is you just want to chase your losses. You're never going to get it back.
5 threes? Why did I do that? I don't even know who that is. Why did I think Jake Paul was gonna knock out Mike Tyson? That fight was never ending in a knockout. They punched each other like 4 times. Obviously, they were just in it for the money, and I knew that going into it. I only did this bet because they boosted my odds, and they only boosted my odds because they knew it wasn't going to happen anyway. It's 2024. How am I still getting scammed by Jake Paul? And on the flip side, when I do win a bet, sometimes I'm not even that happy about it because I'm just like, I should have bet more. You start getting carried away doing the math. I turned $10 into $30, but I could have turned $100 into $300, $1,000 into $3,000. Oh my God.
Typically, gamblers who are able to stop for a period of time, get away from it, and have some recovery, if and when they go back, which many of them they do, the bets now are going to be significantly bigger. So if they were making $10 and $20 and $50 bets and they took 6 months off and they were trying to recover, but now they're still back to it, but now they're going to be making $200, $300, $400 bets. Every time they come back to it, they just keep making bigger and bigger bets. In order to really heal your mind from gambling addiction, you need to spend a solid year of life not gambling at all. That's the only pathway to healing, is to just disconnect.
It's infinite money. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things about gambling is that sometimes it works. It's a hobby that technically could go well for you if you get very lucky and quit at the exact right time, which you won't, and the casinos are banking on the fact that you won't. Problem gamblers aren't just chasing a feeling, they're chasing this idea that maybe they'll win the lottery.
Even that term, problem gamblers, it's misleading. It's gambling addiction. Once you develop it, it will never, ever go away. I really want anybody who's out there listening that's just starting to get involved with this kind of stuff to listen very carefully. Once you become an addict, it will never leave you for the rest of your life. You will carry it till you die. You can manage it, you can get it under control, but it will always be a little demon up inside your head.
Gamblers can recognize that they have a problem, but see the problem as the way out of the problem.
I think the feeling at the time was, if you can just get lucky here somewhere, then potentially there's a way of making this
all go away.
I suppose the flip side to that as well, Aaron, is it was enabling me to just gamble as much as I wanted as well.
If I just have one good day, I can win it all back. Yes, I've dug this huge hole for myself, but if I just keep digging, I might be able to find that diamond I've been desperately searching for. But the sad reality is, even if you find the diamond, you're just gonna feel so good doing it that you'll probably dive right back into the mines looking for another one.
The truth is, if I'd have had that big win, I would have just spent it anyway.
A lot of the higher-ups at these companies will refuse any responsibility for creating new gambling addicts over the past few years. They'll make the argument that they're just addicted to their phone, and our app just happens to be on it.
I don't believe that there is an addiction to mobile betting any more than there is an addiction to utilization of your phone for any other.
Wow. And that, my friends, is the face of remember it well.
The reason.
You don't think adding a layer of betting makes the phone more addictive than just tooling around Instagram?
No. There is problem gambling. It is a real problem. Whether it's gotten...
He's going to call it problem gambling. It's not problem gambling. It's gambling addiction. Put it in your head. And people like this with their fake ass teeth, run.
Bigger, or it's just become more noticeable because sports betting is legal, I think is an unknown.
Really?
Hey, they'd be gambling anyway. Whether it's on our app that sends 30 push notifications a day and is linked to their bank account, or only available in a state on the other side of the country, is totally irrelevant. And while there are obviously some people for whom that is true, you cannot deny the fact that making it so goddamn easy to bet anything at any time is leading to more people gambling who wouldn't have otherwise. You're dangling a piece of candy inches away from people's faces and then saying, hey, it's not our fault they grabbed it. They still would have grabbed it even if it was 2,000 miles away. Since this is all still relatively new in the US, maybe we'll see more legislation in the future to combat this avalanche. In some countries, they
get ahead of it. If you have friends or loved ones that are participating and doing this stuff and you hear them talking about parlays and constantly looking at their phones, having wild emotional mood swings, it's really sad for the parents of the young person that is going through it, because this is their child. This is their flesh and blood, and they've raised it and they've tried to do their best, but they didn't understand what the person was getting exposed to. In the old days, the kids in high school would have to play poker with their buddies to get started. And now there's gambling addiction at their fingertips on the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's extremely disturbing.
They no longer allow celebrities to appear in sportsbook ads, or they've banned the ads from appearing during sporting events altogether. America is still in this Wild West infancy where all these apps are just scrambling to find a way onto your phone before regulations start kicking in. But maybe
the politicians supporting the gambling are making such bags of money that they are blinded. They don't care. And they're going to slow walk it. And eventually the same ones that made millions of dollars off the blood of the citizens they're supposed to represent are going to come out and tell you that they really care. It's all BS, folks.
The future? Nah, I'm going to be honest. It's hard to imagine that happening. I think it's too late to put the toothpaste back in the tube. The leagues are making too much money off it already. Of course they want to shove betting apps down everyone's throats. It gives people more of a reason to watch the games, especially bad ones. While most people would turn off a 20-point blowout in the fourth quarter, you're still glued to the screen because you need CeeDee Lamb to get 12 more yards for your parlay to hit. They've figured out a way to make every moment matter, even if it doesn't.
You want to make every game interesting? Step one, open the BetMGM Sportsbook. You know what to do.
It's not just sports, though. It seems like these days you can gamble on absolutely anything. You can bet on celebrity breakups. You can bet on which White Lotus character will return in season 3. You can bet on the presidential election. And oh my God, so many people did. Hundreds of millions of dollars were tied up in political bets this year. And if that's not indicative of a nationwide gambling epidemic, I don't know what is. But I'll admit, I'm a little conflicted about this. Because on one hand, gamifying every aspect of our lives only gives more power to those with influence. It creates a financial incentive for spreading deliberate misinformation. It can make you question the motive behind everything you see and hear. But on the other hand, XQC lost $700,000 betting on the election, and that's really funny. If you don't know who XQC is, he's a streamer who, at least in every clip I've seen of him, seems to be speaking a language he invented and no one else can understand. He's also one of the many streamers who've massively increased their wealth over the past few years by taking sponsorships from offshore crypto-based online casinos, helping them and the website they stream it on explode in popularity. At almost any point of any day, you can go to the slots tab on kick.com and see someone who is zonked out of their mind, eyes bloodshot red, 12 hours into non-stop slot spins, desperately trying to win back all the money they've lost so far, oftentimes in a situation so dire that even the chat, with no personal stakes involved and only there for entertainment, is begging them to stop. But they can't. They're on autopilot. Every loss is money that needs to be won back, and every win is just more money to gamble with. I randomly opened this guy's stream one day and watched in real time as he won almost $100,000 and then say this.
95K, that's fucking huge. We're a tenth of the way back.
A tenth? This dude was down $1 million on Big Bass Bash? Now, to most people watching, it's pretty easy to say, hey man, you should probably quit while you're ahead. No, 100,000 isn't a million, but it's a lot more than zero. The problem is someone in this state of mind isn't capable of seeing it that way. He's not even in Thursday afternoon with the rest of us. He's still on the...
When the gambler is in their flow, when they're gambling, they lose total track of time, loved ones, and they are just in that moment, gambling, staring at the screen. This person is like a zombie of himself at this point. Problem is that when you become this gambling addict, even when you're not gambling, you're partially in this zombie state, just thinking about gambling all day long. Even the interactions that you have with everybody in your family when you're not gambling as a gambling addict, they're not meaningful anymore. They're distant. And the people that love you are going to notice, and it's going to make them hurt.
tail end of Wednesday night. So the rational part of his brain, too subdued to muster anything more than a mumble, asks his chat if he should end it there.
Should we up the bet or leave?
They all scream, of course you should, but it falls on deaf ears. He's yet to stop spamming spins for even a second. This man is no longer in control of his actions. He's a zombie, relegated to the passenger seat of his own mind as it careens towards the conclusion everyone watching knows is inevitable. But there's nothing he can do to stop the momentum.
I have to quit. At a certain point, I have to give up. At a certain point, I gotta give up. Oh my god. At a certain point, I gotta give up. Dude, that dog demolished the balance. Oh my god. That's crazy. Lost over $1 million today. There's nothing in there.
All he can do now is sit in the reality of what just happened.
What the fuck? Beautiful girl. Dude.
Come to terms with the fact that despite his and everyone else's better judgment, he got doghoused.
Doghouse is what did it. The doghouse is what defeated me. I got doghouse. I got a full doghouse. Full doghouse, dude. Full doghouse. Full fucking doghouse, dude.
Now, I don't know who this guy is. He might be getting paid to do this, and everything he lost might have been house money that means nothing to him. He's a good actor if that's what's going on. We just don't know. I know for 100% fact that gambling companies will pay big-time YouTubers and streamers up to $100K per month to just go stream for an hour or two a day. $100K a month, and they just say, you're going to use this fake money. We'll give you a bunch every day. Make a big show of it and make your people join our revenue stream.
I got doghouse.
Did I just watch this guy ruin his life?
I don't know, actually. The thing is, it's hard to take streams like this at face value. There's a very well-documented history of streamers on Kick high-stakes gambling with money that was given to them by the website they're playing on. So not only are the stakes not high, but it's technically not even gambling. It's just promotion. The entire goal of these streams is just to make the people watching them think they too can go win life-changing money on asscoin.com. So maybe this is all bullshit. Maybe the only real thing about these streams are the holes he punched into the wall behind him. Maybe he'll miraculously be back in a couple days with a suspiciously large balance after seeming to lose everything. But clips like this are just the flip side of an online ecosystem currently doing everything it can to convince impressionable teenagers scrolling through TikTok and YouTube shorts that gambling is awesome, actually, and you gotta start doing it.
Yes. Oh my god. Bang, 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 bang.
That's a great feeling, man.
I'm on top of the world.
Now, some people have accused these websites of rigging the odds in favor of the streamers so it's easier for them to farm these clips, and as far as I'm aware, there's no proof of that. I think the misrepresentation of odds here is simply due to the fact that these websites can just keep depositing money into their accounts whenever they lose, giving them unlimited funds to play with.
Unless Rubet's gonna give me free money, I think that's like actually it. We really just need Howie to give us a ton of free money.
If you're given infinite money, you can just keep betting until you hit a jackpot. For them, there's no such thing as rock bottom, a philosophy that very much does not translate to real life. In real life, you can hit rock bottom, and when you do, there's no texting Howie to get yourself out of it. What's especially concerning about these kinds of streams is that while sports betting apps are at least targeting mostly grown men, the majority audience for a lot of these streamers are teenagers and young adults. People whose brains have not finished developing yet. People who would have a harder time distinguishing between entertainment and real life and have less of an ability to evaluate risk compared to people much older than them. It is statistically proven that people who are exposed to gambling at a young age are more likely to develop problems with it later in life. So maybe don't do this.
Looks like a kid's game, and that's true for every addiction, that the younger you start with the addictive substance or behavior, the more likely you're going to have it torment you forever.
Much to ask.
Now, there are a few different types of gambling streamers. There are the ones like Aiden Ross, who have been very transparent about the fact that money is the only thing that matters to them, and there's no line they would be unwilling to cross in pursuit of it. Then there's streamers like Steve Will Do It, who admitted in an interview with CoffeeZilla that the only reason he started taking these sponsorships was because he used to have a gambling problem, and it was a way for him to continue to gamble without having to use his own money. In other words, he knows from personal experience the
That should not be the mindset. The mindset should be you want to get control over the addiction. And the way that you gain control is you have to weaken neural pathways in your mind. If you continue gambling or thinking about gambling or watching sports events and thinking about bets and parlays, even if you've stopped gambling, you're not allowing your mind to relax. It takes a full year of letting your mind stop thinking about it in order for you to really start to gain control back of your brain.
Harm a gambling addiction can cause, but he has no problem promoting that to other people as long as it's not his money they're losing. But then there's also plenty of streamers that don't seem to think they're doing anything wrong. They put their head in the sand and make excuses because the money's too good for them to turn down. Take Nick Merckx, for example. Nick gets pretty defensive when people question the fact that he spends 1 week out of every month spinning slots on kick.com. Oh yeah, man, sorry. Forgot a bunch of children watch my streams. Like, dude, you've spent the past 6 years streaming Fortnite and Call of Duty. If you don't think the majority of your audience is young men, I don't know what to tell you. And don't even get me started on Drake. I know a large portion of his audience is underage because those are the people he's trying to fuck.
So while obviously these websites, who use decentralized currency and are based out of a small island country with laughably loose gambling restrictions in order to skirt federal regulations, are mostly to blame for the damage they've caused, these celebrities and streamers who've helped popularize them are very much complicit. When you build an audience online, whether you like it or not, there is a parasocial element to it. There are people in your fan base who look up to you and trust you, and every time you sell something to them, you are leveraging that parasocial relationship in order to financially benefit. And I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect. I sell merch, I have sponsors, I just did an ad read like 3 minutes ago. But my God, I feel like the bare minimum with the sponsorship is, does this product actively hurt the people that use it? Yes? Then I'm not gonna do that. I get that it can sting to turn.
That's the difference between Aiden Ross and Drew Gooden. Aiden Ross will just do anything for a bag of money.
Down a lot of money, and if the numbers people have floated around are accurate, it is a stupid amount of money. But for some of these people who could already live 10 full lifetimes without ever having to worry about bills ever again, when is it enough? It's just crazy to me. It's like, thank you to everyone who supports what I do. You've given me my dream job, this life of luxury I'm so lucky to have. And in return, I give to you a crippling addiction. Sorry, I wanted to buy a house in Mexico.
We got another place because you can't do it in America. You have to go somewhere else. So we went somewhere else and we got another place.
Call me dramatic, but I'm a little concerned where this is all headed. People like to talk about iPad babies who are burning all their dopamine receptors before they even reach preschool. But what is a slot machine if not just a giant iPad, scientifically engineered to be as mesmerizing as possible?
That is a disturbing sight. All these grown men, bang, 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 tapping away at a screen. That is scary. Not much different than a crack house or opium den.
Possible, so you don't even realize what you're letting it take from you.
$1,000 in fast spins at $50 a spin. Look at that, $194,000 grand. That thing is due. Oh, well, that's $1,000.
Gambling can be addictive enough on its own even before you add in all this social pressure. The transition from casual gambler to full-blown addict can happen so gradually, a lot of people don't even realize it's happened to them until it's too late. And when everyone around you, from celebrities in commercials to all your favorite streamers, are just making it seem like it's no big deal, it's fun, everybody does it, can you truly recognize the seriousness of what you're getting yourself into? I think all we can really do for the time being is try to fight back against the normalization of gambling. So what do you say we all get together and call a timeout? What's that? They already tried that for hate.
We need to stop it.
So let's take this moment
to change the momentum
and call a timeout
on hate.
Together.
Together.
And it's not working, even though they got shacked. Well, that's not good. That was kind of the only idea I had. Gambling is not new. For as long as there's been man, there's been the primal desire to bet it all on red. But what is new is the way technology has evolved to prey on these urges in the most efficient and targeted ways possible. Using AI to send push notifications at the precise moment they know they're most likely to be open. Using a constantly evolving algorithm to offer bets that are so time sensitive you have to commit to it before you even have a chance to think about it. These apps didn't invent gambling addiction, they've just made it more accessible. You combine all of that with a system in which most people aren't paid nearly enough money for the amount of work that they do and might see gambling as one of the only ways out of that situation, only to end up exacerbating their problems, and you end up with the unmitigated economic disaster.
Preys upon the people in the middle class who work their butts off and try to survive and are continually always crushed by the two stones of one being inflation and the other one being taxation. So you could see how gambling is an option, especially someone in your 20s, and just realizing like you're never going to be able to save money. You're never going to be able to build equity. And where are you going to get? You're not going to get anywhere. Gambling turns into an opportunity. It's so despicable.
Disaster we're in now. Forgive me for using the C word, but we've stumbled into this stage of capitalism where every dollar must be profited by any means necessary, and foregoing any chance to do so would simply be seen as a missed opportunity. Advertisements in between the game? Not enough. Now they're a part of the game. A mini fridge in the hotel that I can store my leftovers in? No, we should be filling every square inch of that thing with $12 Coke cans that'll automatically charge your credit card even if you're just moving one out of the way. A YouTube outro that's just a few seconds of peaceful music and no call to action? You wish, bozo. Please go listen to the song I made with my friend Sam. I wrote the guitar for it and I think it's pretty good. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, Drew, I applaud your effort. I only wish more people had seen that video. Drew doing a great job at helping young people wake up to the evil forces that are working against them. You are viewed as a bag of money to be pillaged from for the rest of your life. The quicker you realize that, better equipped you're going to be to manage the decisions that will be put before you. I'll see you next time.